Is it just me, or did today fly by? I
It
felt
did
like,
fly by.
yeah,
Yes.
it was noon before I knew it. Then it was 4 before I knew it. Then it was 5:30. I was like, oh my God, it's time for the live.
Yeah, actually it did fly by and but for me it wasn't too bad. It was kind of productive, so not nearly as productive as I'd ever like it to be, but it's still good.
I had productivity up until about noon. Then I got distracted a couple of times.
Oh goodness.
Ah,
Well, I know better than to put like three major things on my list, but for some reason it's like everything is important and then, you know. So I've just basically said no matter what, like the thing I have to get done is like got to be like first thing in the morning because I happen to be a morning person as well. So I'm just like, oh,
yeah.
yes, thank you, Chris. Everybody, put your city and state in the chat so we can recognize you. We are officially live on YouTube, on Facebook. I see our people coming in on YouTube. Hello. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up on YouTube. I have confirmed with our speaker today, which is all about using business credit to build wealth. Very excited. Tawana was the one that actually introduced me to today's speaker. She sent me an email saying, hey, there's this woman who speaks about this topic because I was looking for a business credit person. And initially, I had reached out to her, this power of perseverance. I reached out to her and I didn't hear back. And I couldn't find a phone number or anything like that. So I was like, and every once in a while I'll try back again. And I tried again. And she answered that time and said, yes, I'd love to come and do it. So everybody put your city and state in the chat so we can recognize you. There's a lot happening within 10K and, the growth that we have. We've had several new members over the past couple of weeks. So we want to welcome everyone who is new here. And yes, put your city and state in the chat. We want to start recognizing you all. So it's 6:01 right now. You've got Chicago in the house. You got Memphis, Tennessee, another Memphis, Greensboro, North Carolina. We got the Bronx, Bowie, Maryland, DC in the house. Mark from Tacoma, Washington in YouTube. I see Newark, New Jersey. We've got Toronto, Canada in the house. Hello, hello to everybody. Welcome. Vanessa, I see you here in Facebook from Houston. Hello to you as well. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. We've got another YouTuber, Minneapolis in the house. Hello. Good afternoon. We've got another YouTuber, Missouri City, Texas, in the Houston area. So very nice. Welcome. Welcome to everybody here
Looks like we've got a
tonight.
Toronto, Canada also joining us here on Zoom.
We got a Toronto in the house. Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to take a few minutes, introduce myself, introduce the beautiful Tawana here while we wait for Kiana to come on. So hi, I'm Cherie of the 10K Project. We are the largest community of small dollar investors who actively fund Black-owned businesses. And what does that mean? I want to start off just telling you a little bit about my story so that it'll make some sense. So I've been a business plan writer for about 10 years, actively helping people write their business plans and raise capital for their businesses. And I work with all ethnicities. People from other ethnicities would usually be able to take my business plans and I'd get a call 2 months later saying, hey, Cherie, we just got our $2.5 million. Thank you. And people from our ethnicity usually didn't have those contacts. They usually struggled in order to get the funding that they need. Well, for 3 years, I started saying to the community that Tawana and I belong to, hey, if 10,000 of us got together and we put in small dollars, we could raise $1 million or more. We don't have to wait for other people to come and fund our own businesses. We can fund our own companies. And one day in a meeting, closed meeting, Tawana calls me to the carpet and says, you've been saying that for 3 years. When are you going to do something about that? And I'm like, I can't do that by myself. So literally, right, Tawana? I was like, I was trying to get somebody to do this thing, right? Well, Tawana and some others said, hey, you know what? We're in. We'll help you. And from there, we are almost at 1,600 members that are part of the 10K project. So every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, we have something called a Bet on Black pitch. And as Tawana always says every week, it's more than a pitch. It is an event. But we have an entrepreneur that's featured. They come to the community, they do a presentation about their business, and then the community gets a chance to ask that entrepreneur questions. And the questions are always lit. The Q&A is always live, right? And then you as an individual gets to decide if you want to invest in that business. These investments are regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. They are part of something called Regulation CF, which stands for crowdfunding. And this is either equity crowdfunding. Every once in a while, we do a debt deal, but for the most part, we do equity crowdfunding, which means that you own shares or partial ownership in these businesses. And the way that you make money is if the company does well, then anyone who's an investor gets to share in the profit. And if it doesn't, then you only lose what you have put into the company. So we have 2 membership levels. The first one is be a part of the Bet on Black pitch. You also get our knowledge center with all sorts of education in it. And Kiana's here as well, so let me bring her up. Education in it, how to invest in hotels, credit repair. We've got tons and tons of content in that knowledge center. And then for an upgrade, you are able to get 6 months of customized financial planning for you and your family. Because at the 10K project, we didn't just want it to be like, just invest in these companies. We really care about you and your financial wealth overall.
And I'll just add to that piece, Cherie, while you bring Kiana in, that we partnered with a Black-owned financial planning company. So you're going to get this financial plan from certified financial planners, right? It's not going to be Cherie and I telling you what to do. So it's going to be
because neither one of us is
do
certified.
This for a living, right? Because we are not certified financial planners. So we partnered with a company that is going to absolutely take care of you and get you on the right track, or confirm that you are on the right track if you already have a plan. So please consider that. Go to the website, the10kproject.com, and just look at the offering and compare it to, maybe you've looked into financial planners before. I can tell you, a couple of weeks ago, one of our members told me that she actually spoke to a financial planner and did the free consult, and he was going to charge her $4,000. And then we came out with the upgrade. And when she looked at the side by side, what he was going to do based on what the upgrade was going to do, and she's already a member, so for her, it was only going to be an additional $247. She said it was a no-brainer. And so she actually upgraded, and she had her first meeting with the financial planner. Actually, I just got an update on it also, and it sounds like they're doing some really great things. It's more than just here's a budget. Like they're really talking. She's at the stage in the process where they're really talking about mindset. And I was like, oh wow, they took it somewhere I wouldn't have thought, but they're really talking about mindset. When you think about it, that's what's going to keep you consistent and keep you on track. So I'm super excited. I have not personally upgraded my membership yet. But after hearing the feedback, I'm like, I think I want it too. So super excited.
Well, I will say one more thing, actually, two more things before Kiana comes on. The first is that there's a lot happening in this country and there's a lot happening in this world. And I've been doing these little short 3-minute segments. And the one that I filmed today that I'm most likely going to release tomorrow is it's a little sobering, um, but it's important for us to know and to recognize as Black Americans, for our families and for the community overall. And I will say this, um, we all know that when our counterparts get the sniffles, we get pneumonia, right? So the biggest thing that I can encourage anybody and everybody to do right now is, if you did not take the last year and a half to get your skills up, please get your skills up. Please invest, save. All of those things are going to be super important. The world that we see today is not the way it's going to be 20 years from now. And I don't know about you, I'm 45, so I know I'll be around, hopefully, prayerfully, in 20 years. So I'm preparing for that now. I'm like skilling up even as an entrepreneur. I'm getting my entrepreneurial skills sharpened. So, whatever you have to do in order to make more money, invest more, be strategic, buy land, buy. I'm not a financial advisor when I say this, but by crypto, potentially, do your own research. But just be prepared, because you know things are changing, and we want as many people as possible to be aware of this and to be ready. There are going to be people who make trillions of dollars from what's happening right now, and we just want you to be part of it. And being a part of it doesn't just mean the 10K project businesses. Being a part of it means getting in the game, period.
Right.
The second is, Charlotte, I see your question here about not being able to get into the Tuesday session. Someone did tell you to email me at info@the10kproject.com. So for anybody who is not able to get in, if one of the things I'm going to ask you to do is check the email that you registered with, because the emails that every week I upload to Zoom, the emails that are on our membership list. So that's probably the issue, Charlotte, is your invitation is going to a different email. I'll be honest with you. So just check that out as well. People are saying they have not been able to access the Knowledge Center and Master Password. Yeah, just email us with any of these tech issues at info@the10kproject.com. And either myself or Tawana or Audrey will be able to handle that. Angela, Tawana, this is for you. Does the upgrade opportunity expire by a certain date?
Yeah, so I responded to Angela and said, this upgrade option will be available as long as Freeman Capital offers it to us. So I don't foresee it going away. I will say this, obviously, the more we utilize it and let them know that this is in demand, they will, because that's good business, keep it, right? And allow us to keep tapping into it. If no one upgrades, then they'll probably say this probably isn't a good benefit for you guys, so we're going to rescind it. So I would tell you that while I don't foresee it going away anytime soon, it is new, but I think we have to utilize it to let those guys know that this is a great benefit, that we are, the community's experiencing great things from it. And also at some point, I'd like to give some testimonials, right? As people go through the program, do some testimonials. So since we just rolled it out and we just got the first people going through, that may be, maybe we'll do it midway. So maybe when they're at their 3-month mark, we'll have them come if they want to, and maybe just talk to us a little bit about their experience. That'll be nice as well, just to kind of help other people understand what it entails. Because I'll be honest, before I talked to the member that was giving me the update on it, I don't know that I knew all that financial planning was. I had in my mind one thing, and that's not what they're doing yet. So I don't know if that's coming or if that's just not a thing, and I made up this thing in my mind on what it should look like. which, doesn't surprise me that I made it something that it might not be. But I love that they started with the whole mindset shift and taking it to the basics that way. So
Right.
super excited. I'm super excited about it. So hopefully you guys
Well, and
try
I
it
have a challenge for you. I think both of us should upgrade our memberships as well. And, I'm willing to put my 247 on the line. And even though I have all sorts of other stuff going on, I do want to participate in that because
out.
sometimes even just learning one thing, even a 10 to 20 point change in your credit score or, reducing your debt, your especially like the credit card debt by a couple
Mhm.
$1,000s has ripple effects. So Wayne is asking, where do I sign up? So for the upgrade, Tawana, where do people go?
So you can go to the10kproject.com. You go to the become a member link, and then you'll be able, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the 2 tiers. If you click on the upgrade tier, let me back up. If you're not a member, let me start
Mhm.
there first. Then you go to the10kproject.com website, become a member, scroll down to the bottom. You'll see the offerings at the bottom, the basic package, and then the platinum. And then you want to go ahead and click on the platinum and follow the steps. If you are already a member, then you actually log in to your account in the Knowledge Center. Go to your profile. Once you get to your profile page, there will be a button there that says upgrade my membership. You click on that, and then it'll take you through the process and will only put the 247 in the shopping cart for you to pay, versus if you did it the first way, it would charge you 347 because it doesn't identify you as a member already. So it does matter how you do it. So if it is a new membership and you want to select the platinum package to start, then you go through the website and click to become a member, scroll to the bottom, select the platinum membership package, and follow those steps. If you are an existing member, which means you've already paid the $100 lifetime membership to have basic membership, you would then log in with your credentials into the Knowledge Center, find your profile. So you just put your name in, there's your profile, and find your profile. And within that profile page, again, you will see a button that says upgrade. You'll click that upgrade selection. It'll take you through the new steps. And once you secure that, automatically that information will be fed over to Freeman Capital. And I can tell you, I asked the person who was giving me all the information, she actually talked about the process and how the flow has gone. And she heard from them within 24 hours. Now, I was initially telling her between 24 and 72 hours because obviously I wanted to give them time. They were Johnny on the spot, reaching out to her to onboard her and to have her first call also. So they're not playing. They're ready. They're ready to do business. They're ready to change lives.
Yeah. Barb is saying, awesome advice. Let's do a webinar on this topic, skill up. So Barb, here's what I'm willing to do. I am willing to do a webinar slash mastermind call-in show, but I need 3 other people on the panel. So if you are willing to be on the Skill Up panel, whether you have a skill you want to improve or you have resources that are available, I don't like doing stuff by myself that's like a really big webinar. So info at the10kproject.com. Barb, I'm putting you on the spot since you asked for it, and anybody else who would be willing to be on that panel, and we will do the Skill Up panel.
Very nice. Great
Wayne is
suggestion.
asking, can Canadians apply for this upgrade? I think so, for the financial planning. Yes. So Barb is saying, yes, she is in. Okay, then. Any other announcements, Tawana? The Bet on Black Tip
I was going to say the only thing I have is to remind all the members that tomorrow, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is our weekly Bet on Black pitch. Tomorrow's session, the industry is construction, and it is a cost-saving solution for construction projects. So I'll say that. And for those of you who are not yet a member and you want to be a member, go ahead to the 10K Project, follow the link to become a member, select the package, And if you're interested in coming to tomorrow's pitch, you really want to become a member this evening, because remember when Cherie said a moment ago how she takes all of the email addresses and uploads them into the Zoom so you get the links and all of that? She's going to do that tomorrow afternoon. So you want to make sure you do that before she does her step so that you can get into the pitch without any problem. So again, the10kproject.com, become a member.
Absolutely. Okay, with that, Kiana, come to the floor, please. I see you in the background here, my dear. You're on mute.
There, can you see me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to the 10K Project.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this opportunity as well to come and speak with you guys. I love what you guys are doing. And so hearing this conversation is something that's very much needed. Very, very, very needed. And it'll definitely help, the economy and minority people as well, especially with the way the world is shifting.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the truth is, this is the new way that companies, not just Black companies, but all companies are going to get funded. VCs, venture capitalists are seeing it this way. Angel investors are seeing it this way. So, we get to be ahead of the curve as well with our people. So, but let's talk about business credit and using it to build Black wealth. Before we do that, though, if you tell everybody just a little bit about yourself. I know you have several businesses, you got several, you're like a Jamaican. You got your hand in several pots.
I'm finally getting them all streamlined and kind of put together, because the crazy thing about them is all of them are pretty much very similar to each other, but they have a different audience or a different specific niche. And so I would have to separate them for business purposes. But if you ever see any of my pages, it's going to always be about either community involvement with a nonprofit, with my nonprofit, business, personal development, money, career development. So between all of them, you're going to learn something about those different topics. So I am the owner of the Business Zone. So we are shifting now to start working with clients on business development services and professional development services. And I also have a couple of businesses for teen girls and young women, and it focuses on business, personal development, finance, and career development for them as well. And then my nonprofit, it basically does the same thing. So business credit. Business credit is very, very, very important. There are a lot of myths with business credit, and it got to a point where it gets stressful because there are so many myths about it. And then for Black people, I've noticed that we would use it in the wrong way and not really the correct way. And that's how you really get ahead. So I took it upon myself to write a book on business credit. I was going to originally do it for people. I was going to charge thousands of dollars. But to me, I didn't feel like the people that I wanted to help, I knew they couldn't afford the services. And for me, I felt like, well, I didn't invent business credit, so I didn't feel the need to sit on the information and not share it with our people. So I created the book to make it affordable. And now they can apply the information instead of me doing it, because even if I did it, you're still not learning it because I'm doing it for you. So I created the book. Some
What's
of the
book
biggest
called?
Build Business Credit and True Generational Wealth.
Fantastic.
Nice. Do you have a copy of it to hold it up for us so we can see it?
It's an ebook, but as a matter of fact, though, it's actually on. I don't know if you can see it. Like that's.
Oh yeah, we can see it definitely. Yes.
That's what's
That's
up.
my little poster I made
Nice.
with my mom for me. But with that being said, so even the second part of the book, though, is about true generational wealth. Because another issue that I ran into was, nowadays people push entrepreneurship on a lot of people and not realizing. Give me 1 second. I gotta close my door.
Okay.
Yes, everybody, we will get the link for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, Angela, I'm looking for the link now for you.
She's got actually a lot of ebooks on her website, so I'm just going to throw the whole link in here. But I don't see that specific book, Kiana, on maybe it's under your business credit link. There it is. I see it under the business credit link. Yes. So y'all, we just gonna shout out Kiana tonight. So we're giving her whole website.
That's
Go
right.
check
Go
the
to
website
it.
out.
Get whatever information she needs so you can get that
Yes.
ebook.
Yes.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Kiana.
So the second part of the book is about true generational wealth, because the issue that I was running into was with people telling people, oh, start a business, create your own money, start a business, invest in your kids, but not realizing that the way other people were still getting ahead to create generational wealth is what's on paper. Because at the end of the day, if you create $1 million company, if you don't have it legally on paper, what's supposed to happen with the money, if you pass away or if something happened, the money is passed to the court to do what they're supposed to do. You know, so it just talks about the different ways to really create generational wealth, like to me. And then not only that, it was a good gateway for people to not feel pressured to feel like they have to start a business to create it. Because I tell people, if you paid off a car, if you have a home, all that's creating generational wealth. If you have expensive furniture, that's creating generational wealth. You know, people are buying $20,000 furniture. You want to put even the smallest things in your will, because if something happened to you, all these rich people and famous people, they family fuss and fight over the stuff that's in their house, because you can go sell it and make you a quick come up, you know. Even things such as digital assets, credit card points, those are things that people don't think about as well. If you really use some credit cards and building your credit, you could have over 200,000 reward points at some point, and that's a lot of money in cash. You know,
good point. I've never thought about that, Kiana. Oh, wow.
So I was just really thinking about all these things, because we're really talking about getting to the money. And if you're making all this money that you plan to make and you using your credit card, which you will be using, that stuff adds up. And then just thinking about valuable things, like if you created, I know we're talking about building, you know, businesses and making all this money. So if you created some type of business plan, something you got patent, like all of those things are important. If you have watches, jewelry, that's why people get insurance on them. And then the next biggest problem with that is life insurance. And when Clubhouse came out, I told a lot of people, you guys, you don't need to be getting service with business career. You guys need to go get some life insurance policies, you know, because even the smallest things for that. So say you have kids, you know, you need to put it in, document what's supposed to happen to your kids if you pass away. Who's taking care of them? Do the person take care of them? Are they getting the full insurance policy for them? Or are they getting paid monthly? So I like to use the example when Ghost died in Power. And he still had control over Tariq. They thought they was about to get the big payout, but no, it was still things put in place. So it's the person that's going to take care of your child. Are they going to get all the money up front, or they get it monthly? Do they need to write a check to the dealerships for your kid who needs a car at 16 to pay tuition? All of those things I think about. Even things as small as if something was to happen to you, you have to go to the nursing home. Where you want to go? Who you want to take care of?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
and can I say something, Kiana?
Mhm.
So I told this story before. I tell it like every time we have this discussion. True story. There was a woman who died. She had a 5-year-old. She had a couple of $100,000 in a 401k. She had an ex-husband who was on her 401k listed as a beneficiary. He was not the child's father. When she died, he walked away with that money and the child was left with nothing. And when I first shared this story, Tawana was here and a couple other people. Tawana works in HR. And what did you say to me, Tawana?
That's not uncommon. It happens all the time. It's not just, at least that was an ex-husband. Sometimes they're boyfriends, girlfriends, you know, cousins, because remember, you thought that person was the trusted person, but then they don't want to take care of little Johnny or little Susie. So, I mean, you really have to think about who you put as that beneficiary or that custodian over that, you know, over that estate. And really think about the future and not think about it being, you know, this is the person that today I might be close with. It's really a bigger conversation to have with yourself. But that story is not uncommon, at least for the company
Yeah.
I work for. We've had so many of those same stories occur, and there's nothing anyone can do.
Right. I mean, I tell everybody tonight, if you have not checked the beneficiaries on your life insurance, your 401ks, your, like I have a TD Ameritrade account, all of that stuff. Fortunately, I have the same beneficiary no matter what, and that person is pretty much staying on it. But if you had a boyfriend last year and you put his name, or girlfriend and you put her name, and you've got kids and all, please, like,
Yeah, we say check it
write a
every 6
note.
months. Every 6 months, go back
Mhm.
and just look to make sure, first of all, that everyone is still listed properly, because the other thing is companies make mistakes,
Mhm.
databases get wiped out, right? So make sure that the company has the right person on there, and
Mhm.
that it is who you still want on there. Make that, do that the same way you change light bulbs or toothbrush heads or whatever. Add that in the cycle to really look at it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even your bank accounts too. I worked at the bank shortly, and that was another issue. Something would happen and the kids or whoever, they couldn't get access to the bank because their name's not on there. Even if
Right.
you're married, your name's not on the bank account, you can't do nothing about it. And I say worst case scenario, you're in a hospital and you need to go to the bank. I had someone say, well, that's what the ATM for. It's a limit on how much money you can take
Right.
out daily.
Yeah, and you really aren't supposed to be doing even the ATM if you are not listed on the account. You could end up in trouble. So,
Exactly.
but
That's gonna
there's,
be another problem.
well, I know some of us do, the alternative way, but I tell people all the time, my father had payment on death, fortunately on one of his accounts. And, because of that, when he died, my stepmother was able to access that money. So she didn't have to, my father owned his house outright, but she didn't have to worry about the light bill and things like that because she was able to access the money early on with just a death certificate. So all of those things you want to think about. But let's move to the business credit part. So yeah, so this is all a part of generational wealth too, because you want to make sure that your generations get the wealth when you die, or things like that. But how do we build it up? How do we start with getting this credit for? Oh, and I want to say one more thing. I'm sorry, before we go on, Kiana. If you remember the 10K project and you have not looked at the family bank sessions, please do that, because what Kiana's talking about now, you may have a W-2, and having a W-2 is a great thing. Every family can start a family bank, or every person can start your own investment bank for yourself, where you're actually putting your assets into a basket and being strategic about it. So you're able to use business credit in order to invest in certain assets as well. So with that, Kiana, now I'm going to toss it over to you. What are some of the things we need to know about business credit?
So with business credit, one of the biggest things is your foundation. And if you ever aspire to get a business loan, you need to have good personal credit and good business credit as well. Okay. And so with business credit, you get 3 scores. Now I'm talking about the main points with it. So with the foundation, some of the things that you need to have in place are a 1-800 number. It can be 877. It can be anything. Try not to get 833 if you can, because it seems less credible. Just think about the collection numbers that I always call. They always call them from 800 or 877. So you want an 800 number, you want a website, but with your website, you need to make sure everything is within the same industry. So there are people who have top on their website, and then they also have that they do nails. Those are 2 different industries. So you want to make sure you have them in the same industry. And the best ways to go about that is you can check out a NAICS code. So you need a NAICS code, NAICS, and then a SIC code, SIC as well. And if it don't fall under whatever you choose for your NAICS and SIC code, then you don't need to have them on the same website as well. So you need to get both of those as well, an 800 number. Stop using Cash App. I know that's a hard one to do for people, but worst case scenario, you start processing all the money. A Cash App has no 1-800 number at all. So you don't want to use them. A business bank account. Don't overdraft your business bank account. And then this is the next secret with that. You need to get really close with your banker. So let me say this before I go to that. You also need the DUNS number. Now, they are going to be kind of doing away with the DUNS number in the next year to come. But still go ahead and get your DUNS number now and then get you a NAV account. So a NAV is NAV.com. That's where you can check your business credit scores. Now, DUNS will try and upsell you to buy a bigger package. You don't need that, okay? So just get the basic account, it's free, and get your number and get the NAV account. Now with NAV, they have it where your score will show us a letter grade, but you will have to upgrade the system. It's like $29 a month, and if you upgrade it, you'll be able to actually see your numerical score for your business credit. You can also get the NAV boost on there, and it reports as a trade line. Now, when it comes down to funding, the best way to get funding from your bank is you got to get in close with them. Now, you can't just go in there and go get a $100,000 loan. Most times, traditionally, you have to be in business 2 years on paper, on tax returns, showing that you make 6 figures. You need to have at least a 700 up credit score. If you get in good with them, you kind of get away with the 700. But right now, with the way the pandemic is, they have gotten a little tougher on the score. But the biggest thing with the credit is not always the score. It's a lot of times it's what's on your profile. So if you have collections, late payments, derogatory marks, those are the biggest thing. That's not just with trying to get a business loan. That's with pretty much anything with credit. It's not always the score. But I see people who have 800 credit scores and they've gotten denied, or they got a high interest rate on something because they didn't really have a strong credit profile. And then you also need a business address. That's one of the most important things. You can use Regus, REGUS, or OPUS, OPUS. So you need a business address. If you don't have a business address, you won't really get nothing.
Can you use the UPS store?
No.
Okay.
So they don't want you to use PO boxes.
Okay.
So really refrain from using the PO box. But use a business address. And the biggest example for that is that my best example I use people, would you want to loan somebody $500,000 if they put in their home on there as their place of work? Probably not, because now you're gonna say like, well, you're not serious. Why do you need this money? And you don't even go into an office building, you know? So that's the biggest thing. And then also with business, everything is public. You know, it's not like personal. All your business, like how much money a business made, that information is public. Creditors don't even have to tell you if they pull it or not, because they don't have to. They can go get it. And so I've seen people who have went to dealerships with their business credit and got cars approved, and they didn't really ask them for certain paperwork because they could have just pulled it out of the system. So those are the biggest thing with business credit. And you want to get in good with your banker. And when I say get in good with them, you need to be talking to a banker, to get your set banker and talk with them at least 1 to 2 times a week. If you can, go in and talk to them, talk about your plans, because at the end of the day, they need us just like we need them. They got to make money. They got to close deals. They're under pressure just like we be under pressure, you know. Get in good with the CEO of the bank, the manager of the bank. And then another thing is to try and bank with a bank who specializes in commercial lending, because not all of them would do it, but a lot of them are not really big on it. You know, some banks likes to push mortgages the most. Some are really big on putting their money into their community, wanting to help small business owners. So try and get with commercial lending bankers, because that means that they're going to have your best interests if you want to go that route with getting lending. But
can I make a comment about that? So as all y'all know, I do business plans for a living. So I interact with a lot of bankers, a lot of business bankers. And one of the ways that you can act on what Kiana is saying is talk to the banker and ask them, how many clients do you have like me? Similar size business, you know, similar goals, etc. And that way they'll be able to tell you, oh yeah, I deal with, you know, this type of person, that type of person, etc. So you're able to gauge, you're able to gauge how active they are. Also, so when people come to me for a business loan, for example, I will say, ask the banker, you know, when was the last time you funded a business like mine? So with what Kiana is saying, you know, when was the last time you funded a business like mine? That'll give you a lot of insights as well. If it was 2 years ago, you got your answer. If it was last week, you got your answer, you know. If they sound like, yeah, we fund people like you all the time, you're our bread and butter, you know, that's how you implement what Kiana is saying with regards to that. So, Kiana, I don't know if you meant to go off video.
Okay. There we
Okay.
go.
But yeah, I always like to tell people how to implement certain things, and that's one thing that I know. Yeah, and some banks are regional, some banks are national, some are, you know, prefer to do, for example, well, Kiana, I'll ask you this question. We'll have a conversation about this. If how important is it for us to think about the types of things we want to invest in and then back into a bank? So I'm thinking of, you know, land. Like, for example, I own land, right? You know, and there are banks that specialize in rural areas,
Mhm.
you know, versus other banks that focus more on cities. So, how important is it for people to think about where they want to be with their investment portfolio in the next 5 to 10 years and the bankers they choose?
That's very important, especially to decide on what type of business. So, like you said, what you want to invest in. So, if you wanted to open up, um, a storefront or a shopping center or a nail spa or franchise something, those are questions you can ask too when it comes down to what type of business do you guys, typically fund. And that's very important because, you want to make everything competitive far as getting the best deal. You don't want to go somewhere and they don't typically fund your type of business. Now you're stuck with a high interest rate, or you're stuck with someone who's not as diverse and skilled in making sure that you have the best that you need, because you don't want a banker who just will lend you the money. You don't want to create a relationship,
Yeah.
and just really keep the relationship going. They might send you clients or something, become one of your so that's very, very important. And then also with that too, thinking business plan is very important. Like she said she does, because you want to make sure that you really run your numbers, because when you go into the bank and try to get funding, questions that I've seen, people ask or be asked was things dealing with them wanting to open up like nail salons, well, how many nail salons are in this area already? Sometimes I think we don't always look at the bigger picture, because, and that's okay. That's why people are hired to do what they're experts in, and so when sometimes we will see a place like, oh, this will be a great deal, for this price. But when you think long term, you want to think marketing, you want to think innovative strategically, you want to think funding wise. You don't want to get a nail salon that has 3 other nail salons by you, because now you're going to be in competition with not only them, but the funding opportunities as well. And a lot of funders don't want to typically lend money sometimes if it's a high risk.
Right.
Like
Unless you have a book of business. I'll say that.
Yeah.
If you have a book of business, then you can get away with it,
Yeah. And that's important in real estate too. Where some people, if you're new in real estate, or you're kind of a veteran in real estate, but things are not, you don't have everything all together like you need to have it. But like you said, if they know you're a veteran, they know you have a book at it, but you're missing certain criteria that they normally give, then you can get away with a lot of things. And that's another great point too that you just made me think about, your background. So in the book, I talk about the 7 C's, and they want to know, do you have down payment money? They want to know, like, where's your background? So it can be me. I don't know anything about the restaurant industry, but this person might do. And I might still have a better credit score than them, or most of the criteria, but they're probably going to go with them over me if it's kind of slightly off, because they have the better background. I'm a higher risk. on paper because I don't know anything about the restaurant industry at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very, very important. You know, whatever industry you want to go into, if you do go to a bank or lender, you can bring along some type of mentor in that industry to kind of talk with you and talk along with you and help you out. And just really thinking long term. You know, I hate running into business owners who I ain't gonna say I hate, but the issue that I have that I really try to break from people is thinking they need the biggest thing they want a business on for. Oh, I need marketing, I need inventory, I need this, I need that. Those things are okay, but you shouldn't need a $50,000 business loan for a startup business, and the only thing you focus on is really marketing, especially if it's not, you know, something that's, I'm not gonna say something that's not gonna be big, but something that's probably around the parameters of like real estate or tech or something like that. But with a lot of people wanting to just start businesses these days, they don't always have the groundwork and the framework. So I try to rewire people to not come in thinking they just automatically need a business loan, to try to make things work with what they have. And then as you grow, then get the business loan to really take off. You know, you don't want to get a business loan right off the bat and you think you need to go spend it on getting all these flyers and logos and stuff done, and now you done ran through half of your money.
Right, right.
You know.
So Kiana, let me ask you this along those lines. Does the book have a coaching and counseling element? And then my second question is, I know you wrote the book in lieu of having the consultancy business where you did everything, but do you still offer some of that concierge service for the people who just don't have time to do all of the things that are necessary to do? So two separate questions.
Yeah, so I don't do it for people though, but I do offer services where you can book a one-on-one, and I basically give you the cheat code of what you need to go ahead and do for you and your business, and just map it all the way out so you don't have to go straight through the book to figure it out. And then most of them just use the book to refer back to if they have some type of question that could be answered in there. But I go ahead and give them the cheat code and basically a quick overview of everything that's in the book and the major key points that they need at this moment to get them started.
Very good. Okay. So I'll use a 10K project as an example. We have been in business now, I think in a couple of months, we'll be at our 2-year mark.
Yay.
So if we were interested in business credit, what's the first 5 things we should be doing? So we've already established a good business, credit scores are good. What else should we look for?
So the foundation of things, and then the foundation things I told you guys about earlier with the DUNS number, address, all those things. And then you can go and start with the basics. The Uline accounts, these are the basic accounts, but you must start there to get your scores generated, you know. Uline, Granger.
I know Uline are the box people. Who's Granger?
Yeah. Granger, they are supplies again.
Okay.
Supply. What's the other one? You have Crown Office Supplies. So those are the basics to go ahead and start with. But with those, you still want to buy from them every 30 to 60 days. I mean, no, every 3 to 4 months, not 30 to 60 days, every 3 to 4 months to still kind of keep it open. But the key with those are don't go over $75. You want to try and spend $75, but don't go over if you don't have to, because you don't want to go too high on your first time and then be denied. So you want to kind of stick at $75. And tricks that I tell people, because everybody don't need things off those websites, but try and find things that you probably use around the house. Like some of those websites sell like cleaning supplies, or if you like the hostel, you can buy some stuff off of there, be creative, and sell it on Facebook Marketplace. And now you're making money back. So those are things. You can find somebody who might need them. A lot of creative people who make things might need some of those supplies. So those are the 3 main ones. And then you can move to your Shell gas cards. But tricks with those, freeze your personal credit scores before you apply to these places. And then another trick is you can put more people on your profile. So that is how many employees you have. try and probably pick 6. Don't pick too many though. But the more you have, the higher your credit limits are. So I kind of feel like for Shell, it's probably like $600 or $700 per employee. I think something like that when I do the math. But the more employees, the higher your credit limits are. Those are the main ones. What else? There are a lot of companies this is another trick. If they offer any type of store credit, they probably offer business credit. You just have to ask for it. So even Verizon, it's another place
even
called
Amazon these days. So I have a business account on Amazon. Yeah.
They have a few of them. They have the revolving one, then they have the net 55 one. Best Buy is a good one, but you don't really want to jump to all of those until maybe after about 6-7 months, because they might deny you. But then that's changed. You might not get denied. Sometimes it can kind of be a hit or miss. Just depends on who do underwriting that day, honestly. So those are some of
Very good.
How generous they feel on Tuesday. Yes, we get it.
So those are some of the good ones, the key ones. And then in my book too, I put a whole list, like it's at least 50 places that offer some type of business credit for you guys. Only thing with a lot of them, you always want to call and verify things. I put questions in there for you to ask them, things to be concerned about, things to look for. But you always want to still call these places because a lot of them change up over the years. Some places report and some places don't. So you always want to still make sure that they are reporting, because that's the whole point of getting it. But of course, if it's something you want that don't report, you can go ahead and get it. Now, another thing is SBA loans. So with SBA loans, those are different than a traditional business loan. So most traditional ones are the banks, and then you have non-traditional, which are like hard money lenders. They normally have higher interest rate, but they're not as hard to get approved like the bank would. But with those, with the SBA, you will need about 10 to 15% down. It's a longer process with them, but don't rule them out. If you want to try and get an SBA loan, make sure you're doing like a nice, good business to try and get approved with them. And you can go they offer help with business loan. They offer help with business plans, all those things. So really using their small business development center. So if you Google SBA small business development centers near you, you'll find something, and they are really helpful. They're free, if I'm not mistaken, for everything.
Yeah, so you can get a counselor for free at the Small Business Development Center. And I know somebody with jacked up credit that got $10,000. So the SBDCs focus on micro loans all the way up to $50,000, but their really sweet spot is $5,000 to $10,000 micro loan. Now, this was a couple of years ago, pre-pandemic, but I don't think things have changed much. But if you're looking for a good place to start, and your first $10,000, that's a good place to go, all the way up to $50,000. And then I had another client get $90,000 so she's Black, but she went to the Latino Economic Development Center, and they accept us too. So sometimes these economic development centers are what do you call it? They'll have like other ethnicities. I've only seen Latino, but go anyway. So, but go ahead, Kiana.
And then
we have a question in here too. So
okay. UCC filings and judgments and liens are important. The only thing I would say too, also before I go to that, with business credit, we're paying it back. I always pay attention to your pay date, because some credit cards, they have a 15-day net pay. So your bill is due on the 15th of every month. Not a 15-day payment. I'm sorry. All of them have different dates. And everything is due on those days. So always pay attention. And then not only that, you don't want to pay too early, because they will deem it cash sale and they won't report it. So try and always pay it, like if it's try to always pay it on like the 20th day if you can. So if it's due on the 30th, try and pay it on the 25th or the 20th if you can. It kind of helps treat the system and build your score and everything. UCC filing, judgments, and liens. So with those, they're important. If you take out a loan, you're going to have a UCC filing against you. And UCC filings can be negative or they can be positive. So on the positive side, they shows that someone lended you money, and it's kind of used for other lenders to compete for your money. So if this lender A saw that lender B gave you money through the UCC filing, now they're going to feel like, okay, well, if she's getting lended money over here, maybe we should lend her some money too. So that's that. And then the negative side of UCC filings is if you don't pay your stuff back. So if you don't pay back, default, whatever you do, then you'll get a negative UCC filing against you. UCC filing is a universal commercial code. And they will, okay, I'm answering in a minute. And they'll put a negative one against you. And then if you put up, say you put up an asset for collateral, they can put a UCC filing against that, and it shows that they have interest in it. And so if you default on your loan, then they can take the asset back. But once you're done paying off your loan, you always want to make sure that all UCC filings is off, because sometimes they mess up and it'll still be on there, and then it'll be hindering you. And something important about the business address too is that always be careful with them, because if you use the virtual address, such as the Regas and Opius I gave you guys earlier, other companies use them as well. Like all of us could be using the same address, and sometimes their information might pop up on some of your data. So you always want to make sure that it's correct. So like if you're using like the DUNS and the NAVs, well, not really NAV, but they always ask you to verify. But sometimes on DUNS or something else, somebody else's business information might pop up on yours. What was the question? What about?
Yeah, so we have a couple of questions here. Stephen is asking, what about payments each billing cycle before the due date? Multiple payments, sorry. Each billing cycle before the due date.
Yes, that's possible. The only thing with that, some accounts like Uline, they don't always allow you to do that. You might just pay it off at one time, but you can ask them. But like credit cards though, you can do that because it's a credit card. Now, there aren't that many business credit cards that just is only business. Most of them require a personal guarantee. Now, with that being said, if you go to the bank and try to get a credit card, they're going to run your personal credit, because anything to do with the bank is backed by the SBA. So they're going to always make you personal guaranteed. And them being backed by the SBA guarantees that they get their money in the event that you default. So it's going to always run your personal credit. But with that though, make sure you have good credit if you're trying to get a credit card. You can get a secured credit card for business that still will run your personal credit, but you can get a secured credit card to kind of start with, and then it'll turn unsecured. But every bank don't offer that option, so you want to check with them first if it will turn unsecured after a certain amount of time. Some banks offer a secured loan as well. Now, if your goal is to get a loan at some point, even if it's a micro loan, I like secured loans for those things. I don't like secured loans for my personal credit, because I used it in college. It didn't do nothing for me. And then I was told that I need a secure credit card. I'm like, well, they told me I need a secure loan. It didn't do nothing for my credit. Now, with that though, if you do a secured loan for business, it'll show that you had some type of loan. So that could kind of help you when it comes down to wanting to apply for another loan, because it'll show up on your report as a loan that you had, even though it's secured. So those are some options. And then Sam,
and you have a couple of other questions as well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So Thetis is asking, can you please speak to credit applications and the impact on personal credit?
Okay, repeat it for me because I don't see it over here. Repeat
Sure,
it for
it's
me.
in the Q&A. Can you please speak to credit applications and the impact on personal credit?
What do you mean the credit application? Like applying too many times or something?
I think it was partially what you were talking about with regard to personal guarantees and any of this also going on your personal credit. So if you get an SBA loan for $10,000, $50,000, does it go on your personal credit?
Okay, so yes, but no. I take that back. I don't want that 1,000% have the answer for if it goes on your personal credit at the beginning for the SBA loans. But if I'm not mistaken, it does. But either way it go, rather no matter what loan you use, if you default, it would be negative on your personal credit. So anything that you personally guarantee, even if they don't put it on your personal, it will go on negative if you default. Because there are certain companies where they will still run your personal credit, even if you're not personally guaranteed, but they will still run your personal credit just for security purposes or verification purposes. But they don't put it on there, but they will still put it on there if it do default. The Sam's store. What's Sam's called? The big Sam's store?
Yeah, Sam's Club.
Sam's Club.
Thank you. I said Sam's Club. So Sam's Club actually has a business credit card that doesn't require a personal guarantee. I would suggest building up your business credit some, and then at maybe like the 8th month, move to going towards that. You would need to be a member there first. So become a member, probably wait about 3 or 4 weeks, then go back in. Some stores ask for certain paperwork and some stores don't. It just depends on who's taking the application that day. So they will ask for the normal paperwork, LC, EIN letter, and they'll do a credit application for you.
Okay, another question from Facebook. So Kevin is asking if PayPal offers business credit.
PayPal do offer business credit. So it's called a merchant loan. So whoever you use for your merchant, not all of them offers loans, but try and use merchants who will offer you loans. So for PayPal and Shopify, after about 6 months or so, it depending on the volume of your money that you're making, they will offer you some type of loan. All the terms and conditions can just vary, but you definitely will want to talk with them and make sure you read the fine print, and they will offer you a business loan. But you can still attempt to apply for one without even using them. But I know if you use PayPal a lot, they are gracious with you and will offer you extend you something. And along
they're aggressive too. I get something twice a week from them. So
yeah.
All right. Well, Tawana, do you have any final questions for Kiana?
I don't have any final questions, but I just had a thought that we've been putting Kiana's link in the chat, but we haven't said it out loud for anyone who watches the replay on the go.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of information. I was peeking at the website while we were talking. It's a lot of good information. The businesszone.solutions. The businesszone.solutions. A lot of good, when I tell you guys, a lot of good information. There's the business credit book. There's a business credit vendors book she has here. Then she's got a business startup package, business consultations. She'll help you with nonprofit startups. That's a big one because I always hear people having a ton of questions with that one. That one's actually
yes. I actually need people to send people. I can send people to you for that.
Oh yeah, because that's a good one. But the businesszone.solutions, Kiana has shared so much good information. Please, please, please check her out. Tap into that knowledge base. Antoine says, "What's the other office?" Regis Opus, you said, right?
Yeah, OPUS, that's the other one. Regis is the most affordable one to me. Now Opus and I think Regis too, they offer other services. Don't get caught up in the beautification of the things they offer, like the fax number, the call answering services, all those things. If you don't need it, don't get it. Bun is just another place that offers 800 numbers. They give you an app on your phone. You can text. You can incorporate anybody else that you want to use for the company. You can give them their own landline on it. All of those things. And then if your company is the type of company that do need a fax though, then get your fax number, because some people, it's not really super mandatory, but some places do want to know if you have a fax number. But if you're not the type of company that needs a fax number, then don't stress it. And then last thing too that I forgot to mention is get your business listed on directories. So like Google My Business is very, very important.
Yes.
There are a lot of directories out there. Just really try and get them on it. So you can just Google business directories. Or you can even use Fiverr, Fiverr, read the reviews and find somebody who can list your business in directories near your zip code. They normally charge like $30 to $50. And something else that's important too, terms and conditions on your website. I'll put terms and conditions on your website for them. And for me, I put a little checkbox. It's some type of app where they got to check it off in order to check out. That means that they agree to the terms and conditions. That's going to help you a lot, especially with people who like dispute things. You know, if they check it off, then you can use it for your defense if people try and charge back, especially with the holidays coming up.
Yeah. Well, Kiana, thank you so much, everybody. You know, put a 1 in the chat to thank Kiana. Put a 1 in the chat. Thank Kiana for being here today with us. So the ones are coming through. We want to thank everybody again. Tomorrow night, Bet on Black Pitch. You can go to Kiana's website, the business zone .solutions.
Yes, and the solutions.
I'm sorry.
Also, no, it's the S at the end of solution, because sometimes people just put solution. It's solution.
Yeah, plural solutions. Yes. And again, if you want to upgrade, Tawana and I are doing the upgrade challenge for our own personal credit. So if you want to do that as well, go to the10kproject.com.
And if you're not a member yet at all, go to the10kproject.com.
Yes. And then in the Knowledge Center, if you just need to upgrade. Okay. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow night.
Bye, everyone. Kiana, thank you so much, dear.
Thank you so much.